Well, thank you for joining me. It's been a long time. The last time
Yes,
we
it's
saw
great to
you
be back.
guys was 2018 at the Royal Gorge, that show here in Colorado. So we'll talk about the tour in just a minute, but we're just a couple weeks away from the new album. How are you feeling leading up to it?
Very excited. I'm and very grateful to be in a position to go back out there and support the record and have the record coming out. You know, we finished it last year during the COVID 2020, and
Yeah.
it was a beacon of light for us. You know, it gave us something to really focus on and do. And that made the music sharper. It made everything a little more interesting in the fact that all we had to do was write the record. I mean, there was nothing else to do. That was by far anything I did in a given day. It was like, as far as working on something, it was like, what's the most constructive thing I can do? It's like write music or go into the studio, you know, when we could. So I'm really grateful just to be back to doing it. You know, it's, you never know. It just really drew in a sharp relief, how sharp focus, how you got to be grateful for what you got and the opportunities, and that music, live music, and being a part of music is a privilege and an honor we all get to have as fans and bands alike, and artists. So I'm just stoked to have the wheels rolling again and the wires firing, and to have a record coming out that I'm really excited about, that I really sunk our heart and souls into it, and I'm very excited about it. So you know, that's not me saying, oh, everybody's got to like it, but I really love it and I'm stoked on it. And it was a great growing experience for us as a band.
I mean, what we've heard so far has been amazing. It's called Play Loud. Is at least what we've heard so far is bigger than what you guys have put out before.
You know, end of 2019, we were writing the record and we had self-produced our first two albums. So our bass player, Alex, was really the head of that. He did the production, and then Mark and I would sit there and, you know, have our opinion, but he really was the one turning the dials or having the big opinions on it. And then after those first two records, we just kind of we decided that it was time to try something new. So we ended up meeting, we had some songs that were basically at the same level as what our first record's sound was, which was our own stuff made by us in our living room, which is, you know, the Give It Back to You record. So we had all these songs we had demoed for Play Loud, which didn't have a title at the time. And we just kind of started putting them around to people, just being like, is there somebody out there we'd like to work on a record with? And we ended up meeting this guy, Dave Sardi, who is this fantastic producer who's done everybody from LCD Sound System to Modest Mouse to Oasis, and, you know, a lot of the cool bands. And he just came in and had so much perspective, and we met him right away. We just like went in there to get to know each other. We went to his he's got a studio up in the hills. It's like in a house, and it was really cool house, like kind of like if you picture like a kind of a, not a mansion, but a bigger like Hollywood house that he dedicated only to the studio. It's like a 1920s Hollywood house. It looks like he's got a little pool in the back, and no, I'm sure nobody swims in anymore, but it looks like something, it's got the fountains. It looks like something Greta Garbo should be like diving into, you know. It's just really cool and inspiring. And we walk in the studio, and he's like, the first day we meet him, and he's like got this beat going, and he's like, maybe we should use this beat to inspire us to write a song. And it was just so thrilling, and it just kept being a thrill. And we found that his personality, you know, we were all very strong, kind of insular, like the three of us had been doing it on our own for a long time. But we also realized, like, this is the third record. This is a time to take some risks and grow this thing. So we went in there, and for the first time, instead of thinking like, oh, we're a three-piece, how do we write the best songs, but also write songs that we put on the album that sound like we could still pull off live, we just said, let's just write. And we did. And it got bigger because that's the sound of what Dave Sardi's experience and production brings to what we are as a band. He's like a jet engine sitting on the tarmac. He's just waiting to go 600 miles an hour, and then when you flip the switch, he's goes 600 miles an hour, and you go with him. And he elevated our songwriting abilities and held us accountable in a different way than we ever had been before, because our goal was to be pushed and to find new ways to do things. And we found, it just time and time again, we kept finding ways to to believe more, love it more, push it more. And when we got done, we went in with the intent, with a bunch of songs, with the intention of making a 10-song record. And we came out with a 12-song record because we couldn't decide which two shouldn't be on there after we had whittled it down. So we just said, it's 12. This is the 12. So that's how it went.
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
And everything we've heard from it so far has just been great.
Thank you.
Correct me if I'm wrong. How High was the first one we heard, right? That the first? Okay. I was so into that song, like right when it came out. I mean, I still am, but was really excited about it when it came out. I know it's doing really well for you guys. What was the reasoning behind releasing that first? Was there any specific one, or like, do you think it summed up your kind of, what the album was?
By the way, I have a little kitten here who's about to get involved in this interview. So that can that's not going to help the listeners, but it's going to benefit our, our talk. So if you hear any crazy cat noises, but could you re-ask me that question?
By the way, since we've been doing this all over the last year and a half, from like, you at home, dogs or whatever will come into the screen, and I love it every time.
I forgot to shut the door, so I've got 3 cats. Because we have these 3 cats here, and there's one's brand new. We just rescued her from a farm, and they're kind of working it out. As a band, we've learned, we have some, with the label, and they have such a great group of people that work with radio and everything, that we kind of learned hand over the record and just kind of hear what people are thinking, and we really trust the people that we work with to say, hey, we think this is a great lead track, what do you think? And we're always like, most of the time, I can't think of a single instance where we haven't been like united on that front. They understand who we are. We do our art the way we want to do it, and so when we turn it in, we're just like, these are songs, we all like these songs. So you tell us, what do you think? Where do you want to start this? And where they wanted to start it was a great spot for us. And then we discussed as a band, it's like, okay, if that's the first look, you've got 12 songs. So it's like, we're going to put out 3 or 4 songs before the album hits. So then we kind of, as a band, then we're like, okay, how about this one for the second, and this one for the third, and this one for the fourth, just to kind of give a glimpse in from, if you see the album as you're now outside the house, you're looking through the windows and you kind of are seeing more rooms. It's like, let's not shine all the light into one side of the room. Let's show different parts of the album. So that's how that logic went. But yeah, as far as the lead single, we were just like, we felt it was a strong song, and we really, when the radio team and our management and everybody came back, and our friends, and we're like, this is, if you were going to hear a first song, this would be a great one to start with. We're just like, okay, let's go with that then. And we would have done it with, we were ready to stand behind any song. But we've also been doing this for a bit, so you kind of know a little bit. Like, it's like this song over here, we've got a 7-minute song on this record. You're not like, okay, that song's going to be the one, even though we may love it. It's like, yeah, that we made that with the intention of it being a track on the album that takes you somewhere past the 3.5-4 minute mark.
Sure, yeah. Well, How High, it was a great first listen. We've heard a few others since then, and you guys are going back on tour. I know this is kind of maybe rejuvenation is the right word for this record, and then you're going back on tour. So how those two lining up with being released and then you guys playing again, how does that feel? Is it all very rejuvenating for you?
Yes, it's exciting. It's, there's a point during the beginning of everything where you ask yourself if you're ever going to get to do what you love again as an artist. You're like, am I ever going to be able to play songs again? Am I ever going to be able to, and when you got the answer back that it was like, yes, this is starting to happen again, that was a very beautiful feeling. Beautiful feeling. Even though we have to take all the precautions to make sure everybody's safe and do all that stuff, and we believe strongly in all of that, trying to do our part to be responsible. We're all vaccinated, that's our choice. That's where we are. So that's what we believe in. So as for ourselves and being out there with our fans. So that part is still challenging because it's, it is what it is. But we're going to do our best to keep everybody safe and rock out. It's all about getting that good feeling back, of being a community together, not locked away from each other, not separate. I think there's never been a time in our history where we've been so isolated and then connected through this, this medium of the internet, which is not always, you're away from each other. So there's no accountability for facing each other in public and seeing each other. And I think there's a spirituality and a beauty and an authenticity and a self-awareness that happens when you get to be around your fellow humans. So I'm stoked for that. I'm stoked for the music. I'm stoked to hear, hit a guitar. I mean, I've been in my house. Other than the studio, I haven't strummed guitars except for a couple of live shows we played at a loud volume since December 31st, 2019. I'm ready, man.
Yeah, I imagine it's
Turn it
such a long
loose.
time.
Yeah.
I will never ever forget when it was, that third week of March or something, when it wasn't just because a couple shows at that point had been canceled, and you're like, oh, okay, that sucks. But when everyone canceled,
Yes.
everyone said, this isn't happening anymore, at least for a little bit. I never in my life thought something like that could happen. It's the craziest thing to like look back on. And I've gone to a couple shows recently in the last few weeks that require proof of vaccination. It's a full packed crowd, and the bands that play in front of me are more excited and energetic and enthusiastic than ever. And so don't you you feel this kind of almost victory lap almost in the live music scene, right?
It's like just a nice friendly splash of refreshing cold water in the face, where it's just like you just really are aware, I think, of how lucky we are to be here, how lucky we are to have each other, how lucky we are to get to do things together as a society, as people, and how lucky we are to all have music. I know music probably helped us all through as individuals, and now we have something that, other than being born, living your life, and dying, which in between born and dying is a vastly different experience for everybody, right? Other than eating, drinking, sleeping, we all go through different things. This is the first time I think we as a group of people have had something that's just all of us have had to deal with. And it was a challenge for everybody. So it was like, it changed everybody's lives all at once and across the entire world. And that can be a unifying thing when we come back together, I think, to love each other more, to live together better, and to respect each other more, because I believe in the good, and I believe in music, and I believe in the healing power of it. And it's and I believe in people. I do. I really do. I don't care. And I'm not blind. I know what's going on, but I'm going to try and be a plus sign instead of a minus sign, and be accountable for my own imperfections, but try to learn, grow, and be a better person as a musician and a person, and all those things. So that's important to me, and that's it, I guess, and that's all in this record, that all went into this record. That's the idea of it. It all goes back to the music. As an artist, everything goes back into your music, I think. Your love, your frustration, your sadness, your happiness, all the melodies, all the beats, all the guitar parts, all this, it all reflects all those things you're going through. And then you get to reprocess that in different environments. And that's an inspiration in its own right. So I can't wait to take this record out on the road.
I can't wait for everyone to hear it. I have a few more minutes with you, I think. Sure. Is there anything, so I've heard the whole thing, and we've heard, people have heard a few songs. Is there any song that we haven't heard yet that people need to keep an extra ear out for once it's released, that maybe is close to your heart?
Well, I it's like picking it's tough, but I won't dodge that. I won't dodge it. The one that we've been playing it live, and it's been fun to see people's reactions as far as the ones that nobody's heard yet. That there's a song called "Live as One" that I really feel I felt when we've played it in front of audiences has had just this, and that's when we've played that, and this is now it's over. We'll never play it in front of an audience again where it hasn't been available, because we don't have another show till after the album comes out. I really treasured seeing some of these songs get played in front of audiences like that had no idea, that were fans of the band, that were there to see us, that had no idea what the song was or what it, and that's a really pure and beautiful read to have as a musician. You get to see in real time someone hearing your song for the first time. And that's one that I think I really love how that one came together, how the message of it came together. I think it reflects our attitude as a band, is trying to be, positive but also real, and with our eyes open, and being, human, being accountable to our own stuff. If you don't own your own stuff, how can you be compassionate, empathetic, or helpful, or apologetic if you need to be to others, you know? And it's that song to me is kind of about that. It's about that grand hope, that thing that you hear in music from time to time, where it's like, let's come together, you know, and if we all wish. And I'll be here with my hand out, hoping for a handshake, or when we can get back to it, a hug, and let's do it, you know. Let's be together.
Good message for all of us. Well, we're going to see you. So we got 2 dates in Colorado, November 13th in Boulder, November 14th in Denver. So we'll see you then. Well, Chris, I really appreciate you taking the time. So Play Loud is out October 8th, and I'm really excited for everybody to hear it.
I appreciate the time, man. And have a great day. And we'll see you down that road, hopefully.
Yeah, 14th in Denver, November.
Yeah.
We'll see you then.
Yep. All right. Sounds great.
Thank you, Chris.
Bye-bye.